Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about your life.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. You are tuned into the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast. And if you haven't guessed it already, I'm your host, Dawn Dai. And I'm here to get you excited about your life so that you can live life on purpose and for a purpose. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. I want to tell you now that vitamin D is a pun off my name. You know, my name is Dawn, so you get vitamin D from the sun. So I am here to shed light into your life. And I do this with inspirational insights and conversations with everyday people and some of your favorite celebrities. So it gets kind of interesting. And then also, I have these special moments where I answer some advice letters that you guys write in, just to give you my take, because when we talk about vitamin D, it's about shedding the light. So I shed light on these letters, but I want to be clear. When you shed light, that's on the good and the bad. So if you want to be better and you want to do better, you got to be able to see better. So I'm going to give it to you straight, no chaser, because I want to keep it real with you. Could you imagine like a plant being put into the ground expecting soil and not getting it? How do you expect to grow? Huh? And I'm assuming that you wrote in because you want to grow or you want to get some insight. So I want to encourage anyone else that, may feel tempted. Go ahead and email me, VitaminD@DawnDaiSpeaks.com, okay? I hope your day is going off well. I hope that you are walking in positivity and light and all that good stuff. How am I? I'm cool. I'm good. I'm transitioning and learning in life what about being present. I'm learning in life and I'm reflecting and I'm seeing myself because I told you I want to grow. And I told you more of what we're doing with the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast. What else? Also, I probably should have said this right before. How many of you guys have noticed or been in seasons where people are falling away? Like, different friends. They're just falling away. And not like because it's a fight. It's just that things are changing. Or, you find yourself just, as some people say, they say it's like a pruning season. And that's because it's just time to elevate with life. And so sometimes things are, may not be going as planned, but you see the change going. I guess that's really what's going on. So I'm not going to say that bad, but I see it. And it's so uncomfortable. And I just wanted to remind you to stay strong in your mind because I can see the blessings that are happening in my life. I can feel them. I'm experiencing them. And just like how the tides run high and the tides run low, how in the morning there's the sun and at night there's dusk. I have these moments of all these blessings, but then it's still life. And I just want to encourage you to stay mentally in the game. Because I fight it myself. Yes, vitamin D. Yes, Dawn Dai. Oh, inspiration. I have these moments where I have to force myself. I have to remind myself. I have to exercise this brain of mine because I know what I asked God for. And I know what the promise is on my life. And I just want you to remind yourself, whatever the promise is, things may not be going the way that you expected, may not be happening when the moment that you want them to happen, but know that it's happening right on time. That quote unquote missed opportunity, perhaps it wasn't ready or you have something better for you. And I guess it's just the understanding of that. It's just the peace of that. I think that's what the flow of that is. And I guess that's what we need to get in a better flow of things, of not just hitting our head and getting frustrated because it doesn't work. It doesn't help. It doesn't soothe. It's like when you're getting frustrated and you're getting upset, it's almost like having your muscles be constricted for so long. It aches. It hurts. But when you just breathe, put them shoulders down, and relax. Almost as if you can just sit back and get a view. Kind of like, maybe that's also why they say play the game of chess. Because you can really just see all the pieces that are on the board. In fact, you understand why you're in this position and understanding what will be the result of the next position. And I think that comes with the understanding. So peace be still on that. Clearly, I had to get that out about something. Because I was going in with the vitamin D advice letters. Jeremiah over here like, Laura on the board like, okay, But Yeah, I just wanted to say that. So let me go into the vitamin D email bag and read this letter. First, let me say thank you. Thank you so much. Here's the letter. Thank you so much for writing in. Thank you so much for being vulnerable. Thank you so much for choosing you and wanting to elevate, to be better and to do better, okay? All right, now let me tell you now, I love you and I appreciate you and I respect you and I honor you. All right, let's go in. Here is the vitamin D advice letter. Subject, my husband doesn't want me to go back to work. Oh? Dear Dawn, I just aced an interview for the job of my dreams. I should be over the moon, but I'm feeling like I've stepped onto a path of doom. I'm 38, living in San Diego, and I've been a stay-at-home mom for about 6 years now. My husband and I are both what you might call high achieving. He's a legal consultant for some large media corporation, and I used to work as an academic before we decided to have children, considering that he made the most and was in the most stable position. I wasn't tenure track, and I didn't foresee getting to that point soon. We decided that we'd become a single income household, and I'd stay back with the kids. Looking back on it, I came into our marriage thinking that once whatever children we had started going to school, I'd start working again. I've since realized that my husband wasn't of that same mindset. We ended up having a beautiful baby girl, and I have love for the past 5 years, being able to see her grow, but I've also missed the classroom and the ability to do research. So now that our baby is getting ready to go to school next year, Lord hoping it's in person, I decided to look into getting a new job. I didn't tell my husband, though. Since our daughter has been born, he's been showing up great, taking care of her, taking time from work when I needed a break, bringing his mom from across the country to help and let her know her grandbaby. But he's also been throwing a little sly comments like, "You're so good at this. You'd make a great housewife." It rubbed me the wrong way sometimes, but I usually push these thoughts away because, well, an infant takes up a lot of attention. So I told him that I wanted to go back to work when our daughter gets to first grade, and that he made this face and said, "Sounds great." No enthusiasm in his voice, no questions about where I wanted to start or what he could do to help me find something. I felt so unsupported that I think it started to affect our relationship. I brought up starting as an adjunct professor at the local community college, and he said, "Wouldn't next year be better?" With no explanation as to why. So when I ended up getting an opportunity to interview for a tenure track position at a private university about an hour away, I jumped at it. I guess I thought that I wouldn't get it and it would just be nice to, I don't know, try. But they want me to start next semester, and I'm a little stuck. Do I tell my husband and possibly deal with whatever sexist crap he's been stewing in? Or do I turn down this and try to start my professional life from a place of honesty? Please help me, Dawn. First, you're going to have to tell your husband. Oh, communication is key. Okay, miss, I want to live my life on purpose and for a purpose outside of my family. I think this is great that you have an identity. And I think that's first and foremost. Do not feel guilty about wanting more for your life. Do not feel guilty about creating your own nucleus about your whole moment. The one thing that I do feel that you should feel guilty about, or something that really needs some work, is that there is a lot of miscommunication in this relationship, or perhaps probably not enough. And it seemed as though it started at, from the get-go. I mean, you guys had got into this relationship, and you guys know that you guys are both career-driven. I mean, you said it yourself. You said, my husband and I are both high-achieving. And here's the thing. I feel like with women, when we want to do the balance of, many of us, or some of us, want to have children and have the career and have the family, but there comes a balance. There comes a communication. And just with so many things changing right now, the whole standard household is not a thing. Now, the thing that's so alarming, and it screams out, I want to go ahead over this. You said you just aced an interview of a job of your dreams. Y'all know how I feel about dreams. You know how I feel like you got to go after your dreams with a clear-eyed view. That's what Meek Mill said. He said, if you want it, you got to see it with a clear-eyed view. Okay? So here you saw that, and you saw this job, and you did an excellent job at this interview. Then, I guess what just blew me is because I'm thinking you're writing this letter and you're saying you're this high achieving woman. You're ready to love on yourself, to get out there with your family. You've aced this job. And then at the end of the letter, you go on to say, I didn't tell my husband though. Should you turn down this opportunity? What? You said, oh no, I found it. Do I tell my husband and possibly deal with whatever sexist crap he's storing in? Or do I turn down this opportunity? Do you know that you miss 100% of the shots that you do not take? And are you willing to risk this even when it comes to your dreams? Now, one thing that I don't think that is good is just to go up and not have this communication with your husband. But I do think it's important to you adhere to what you want for yourself. Because you said you've been a stay-at-home mom for 6 years, okay? You said that you came into the marriage thinking that wherever children you had and they started going to school, that you would start working again. Now, you came into the marriage, and at what point did you realize that he did not have that same mindset? It's interesting because I do think that people change, but that's where the miscommunication of some sort, because how did you guys both go into high achieving? Then once you have a child, I don't think it's like a switch where you just cut off and go, but for whatever reason, he is not on the same page. And you said to yourself, you had your beautiful baby girl and you loved for the past 5 years being able to see her grow, but mama got to get her groove back in the workforce. You said you also miss the classroom and being able to do research. One thing that I feel like a lot of women say is that don't forget about yourself. And whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, you have to learn to love on yourself. I was just talking about how it's important to tap in, how it's important to adhere to your dreams and your desires, and how it's important to celebrate yourself. Just as though you may go to the doctor if you're not feeling good, you need to go and aid yourself in celebratory activities when you do have an achievement, because that's a part of self-care. That's a part of self-love. Now, you said that now the baby is ready to go back to go in school. So you took the initiative to go ahead and check out a job position. Now, you didn't tell your husband. Now, I don't think that's too guilty because you didn't know how it was going to go. You were just out there just checking in, just to feel of what's going to do. But I can understand why you probably had some reservations, because you had said that he's also been throwing a lot of the sly comments, just initiating or just to make sure that you understand what he's saying. He said, "You're so good at this. You'd make a great housewife." Now, here's one thing. You said earlier that you guys in the marriage, you came in thinking it was one thing was the other because it's miscommunication. He is making it very clear what this deal is. He sees you as a good wife, a good housewife, and mom to your children at home. I have to challenge you because I'm wondering at what point are you going to speak up? I'm not saying that you have to push your dreams to the side, but when are you going to find your voice? Because I've said this before, how you do anything is how you do everything. So at what point are you going to make it a point to make yourself a point to speak up for yourself? Okay. Now, you did say you wanted to go back to work. I just imagine it's probably like a little, not a roar, but just like a meow. You said, I want to go back to work when our daughter gets to first grade. And he made this face and said, sounds great, honey. No enthusiasm. So you really didn't know how to read it. And you didn't use on your level, on your end of communication to say, hey, what do you mean by that? That is a very important phrase that I think a lot of people should adopt, because I think it helps, flush out miscommunication with people. Because oftentimes you could be in a situation and you just get mad or take something out of context. And all you have to say is, what did you mean by that? Or what do you mean by that? You said immediately at this point, I felt so unsupported that I think it started to affect our relationship. Oh, you're letting your miscommunication or lack thereof communication now affect your home. Now, you know what I love? They say home is where the heart is. You nestle with love, but it's also your realm of peace. So what, you gonna go out there with your dreams and come back to a house of hell because you haven't learned how to communicate, let alone what happens when your boss comes in for something? When you say you want to go after this job position and they say, well, you have a baby. I don't think that's a good thing. Or, oh, you make good at just staying like a secretary assistant. I know you're going for a professor, but I'm just saying, just keeping it in mind. What if you want to go to be a dean of a department? You have to be able to exercise your voice. At what point are you going to choose to speak up? Now, you go on to say that you brought up starting as an adjunct professor at the local community college, and he said, wouldn't next year be better? Again, now I'm starting to think the miscommunication may be on your end. Because you said that you came in thinking that this marriage, with whatever children that you guys had, once they started going to school, that you were going to go back to school. But he seems to make it very clear he likes you right and on good, ready where you are. Okay? And now we're at a point that you're talking about possibly letting your dreams go to the wayside. So you're going to let somebody hush you and muffle you? I think that you need to go ahead and tell your husband. This is a moment for you to be upfront and honest, to declare your voice, even if your voice shakes. You know, because it's like this. If you don't stand for something in life, you will fall for anything. And I don't think that your dreams should be your downfall. Your dreams are supposed to rise you up. Now, it's interesting that guys did say about starting with your daughter the following year, but they're trying to get you to start next semester. That's a level of consideration because you got to plan childcare. It's just a lot of adjustment and a lot of moving parts. And I think that now that your adjustments and your movements can't no longer just work, or what life was like prior to this, how many years? 6 years with your baby girl, that now you have another being to think about. It's not just you and him that you can bounce, and you got to communicate, because if it's not in this area, there's going to be so many other areas of your life. And as you're having your family, who knows, however many other children. I know you like Dawn, chill. I told you I just got my freedom papers, but I'm just saying, anything else that you're inviting in your life, you got to make room for with communication to align how things are going to work. What are your expectations are? Because you said that there's a miscommunication, but it sounds like there may be a lack there of communication on your end. It don't sound like it. That's what he is, because he made it clear. You are good at this. You make a great housewife. Wouldn't next year be better? And then what, you going to put on the next year and the next year and the next year after that? So yeah, I think you should go ahead and tell him. No, I don't think you should just drop this perfect opportunity, because maybe in this conversation, maybe your husband can see you for who you are right now. Not who he thought you were, but who you are at your core. And you are a woman who likes to work, and you are a woman who likes to go after your dreams. Because what, you're going to sit there and turn it down and then being happy? Then you're going to go home resenting? Then you're going to have a whole other field of problems, because now your daughter is observing this relationship, and now there's going to be trouble. You see how it's just like a callus, and they just keep pushing hard stuff on hard stuff. That's what calluses do. They just pack stuff on top, and it just makes a molehill into a mountain. You know? You hear me? So tell your husband, and tell him because he deserves to know, but say it because you deserve to hear your voice. And do it even if your voice shakes, okay? Speak up for yourself. What Ice Cube say? Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay? Okay? I love you, and I think you're important. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for writing in. And if any other career-oriented women out there who have been able, or who are balancing the husband, the children, the family, what advice do you have? What did you do? I'm sure, things may have adjusted, but you're still residing in who you are, because you're going to be who you be. Okay? Well, if you like that, I want to encourage you, if you have some more advice, you have some questions about relationships, career, family, email me, VitaminD@DawnDaiSpeaks.com. And I'd love to give you my advice, love to share some insights on just what I think. Okay. Also, we're working on getting our subscribers up. Did you enjoy the podcast? Have you been enjoying the podcast? If so, tell your friend to tell your friend to tell your friend and them and some more about Vitamin D with Dawn Dai. We're expanding, we're growing, we're building, and we got to get our subscriber base up. I forgot to announce it, but we've hit a year. We started in June 2020. This is June 2021, so thank you. Woohoo! I probably should have did a separate episode of that, but hey, we're going to keep going because there's no stopping now. So tell them so they can subscribe. And then also, if you've been checking out some of the quick doses, if you've been checking out some of the interviews, I want to encourage you to head over to the YouTube channel at Dawn Dai Speaks. Yes, great interviews up there. Kier, Anthony Hamilton, Lyric Cross, Purvis Taylor, Major, Timothy Snell, Lateef, my trainer, so many people, Violet Palmer, who is coming on the show again, but just so much more where you can get inspired, entertained, and feel informed, okay? So check that out. Also, one last thing, if you can get enough of me, Dawn Dai, hey, and was like, ooh, I want some more inspiration, motivation in my life, I want to encourage you to follow me, Dawn Dai, on all social media at Dawn Dai Speaks. Check out my improv, check out my voiceovers, check out the podcast, all things Dawn Dai and what I got going on. I love to have you. Okay, so make today great. Be amazing. Make the decision to live your life on purpose and for purpose. And until next time, I want you to always remember that you are your greatest asset.